It is that time again, folks. Welcome back to another edition of the Fordham Football Pregame Warmup. I'm your host, Kelly Bright, alongside my colleague and good friend, Andrew Galata, who is going to be calling the game in a few hours. Andrew, loved doing this with you last week. We're back at it again.
Yes, yeah. I mean, another Fordham football game, 4 straight, going for 5 straight should be a lot of fun.
Going for 5 straight, and they will have the opportunity to do that. This is a week 8 game. They're going to be hosting the 0-6 Lehigh Mountain Hawks at the Jack Coffee Stadium, and this game will be sponsored by Belmont Realty. Like you mentioned, Rams, last week we said they were looking for their first 4-game streak since 2015 and their first 2-0 start in the Patriot League since 2016. Now just bump both those numbers up by one. Same situation since 2015, since 2016, best starts for this program in a while. And it's been exciting to see, especially after last week's game, which, Andrew, we were both right up there, up close and personal with a I don't really have a nice word. It was just an absolute butt whooping. Like, I can't even think of a good word to describe.
It was domination, especially on offense. During the call, I called it that this looks like the greatest show on turf right now for the Rams. And, right now what Demorat's doing, what this running back group is doing, what the receivers are doing, it's something that, you see and you look at them, not only tops in the Patriot League, but you have a lot of guys tops in the FCS, which is just something for Fordham. Coach Conlon definitely very happy about.
And it's great for the fans, you guys watching back at home. I just saw that this game is officially sold out online. There are still limited tickets available at the ticket booth, but that's very exciting, very good things for Fordham Athletics. Pack the Jack, there you go. And it's easy to get fans to come when you beat a team 66-21. That was 2 consecutive games where a Fordham team scored over 50 points. So like you mentioned, a big offensive week. Tim Demorat broke a school record. There was touchdowns all over the place. Even in the second half, it was mostly subs playing and they were scoring. But we could talk about it all day long, but let's have you actually watch some of those highlights. Let's roll that clip right now. All right, so you saw a little bit of what we had the blessing and opportunity to watch last week unfold before our very eyes. But let's to get ourselves prepared for another week in which I believe we'll see a very similar domination that we saw last week. Let's give you some fast facts. Let's give you some quick stats. I want to start with Tim DeMora, and to be honest, this is supposed to be one stat, but I think we have about 25 for this young man. His coach called him Timmy Touchdowns when I interviewed him at halftime, so maybe that's his new nickname. Maybe we're gonna have to get some of that swag in the Fordham bookstore, some Timmy Touchdown shirts. But he's now 15th overall on the Patriot League's career passing yards leaderboard with 7,323, which is a single yard short of the person sitting in 14th. He had 6 touchdowns, which was tying the Fordham record for most touchdowns in the game. And the crazy part, Andrew, was he got those 6 touchdowns all in the first half.
I mean, it was unreal. I mean, the way he was throwing the ball and the way he was just on point with his receivers. And that's something that I think is just, when you look at Fordham, I think the offense is predicated around DeMora knowing the offense really well, and these receivers knowing their roles really well and knowing where they have to be. A lot of the throws, DeMora's throwing it before the receivers even break for their routes. And that's something at the FCS level, Patriot League level, it's really, really hard to stop, especially one-on-one. And one of the receivers I wanted to talk about was Fotis Coco Sulis. 9 touchdowns this season through 7 games, and that's tied for the top spot in all of the FCS, which, I mean, that's just insane. And I mean, I don't know if he'd be the first Fordham Ram to do that, but he's definitely one of the first, because I mean, the way he scores touchdowns, it's almost a certainty. And it goes back to, even his time in since 2019, where he's had 17 touchdowns since the beginning of that year. So I mean, he's been the touchdown maker for the Fordham Rams so far.
He's really missed the consistency when it comes to the red zone, especially. It seems like Tim DeMora just always seems to know where he is in that end zone. But what's funny is he wasn't even the leading receiver last week, and he had 3 touchdowns. He had 6 receptions, 76 yards. But DeKeys Carter, junior wide receiver, actually led them in receiving yards with 87 yards, 10 receptions, and 2 touchdowns. So
he never bad day.
Right, a number 2 type guy kind of day. No big deal. 2 touchdowns, 10 receptions. So this is a overpowering offense, just absolutely ridiculous. But they've also got some strength on the defensive side as well. Even though they're without Ryan Greenhagen, they've had a young freshman linebacker step up in a very big way, and that's James Conway, who last week recorded his 4th straight double-digit tackle game.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that stepped in for Ryan Greenhagen, really, really well. He looks like young Ryan Greenhagen. You just see him and the way he's able to, read certain plays, and you can just see that development in there. And you see Greenhagen always in talking with him. It's such a cool dynamic to watch them too, and really the whole linebacking group. And it's a group that's really, I think, came into its own even without Greenhagen. And this defense, I mean, you got to give a lot of credit to them, because they've been, had some injuries on the defensive line. Greenhagen and the linebacking group, and this front 7 has almost played better since those injuries. And you got to give it off to the coaching staff to what they've been able to do. And that's something that I think, you're going to see continue, whether it be guys like Matt Jaworski, who's another rookie, and he's been really good as well. And you can really just go across that front 7. I mean, DeAndre Carter has really came up clutch for this team. So overall, this defense has been impressive of late.
Oh, definitely. And I definitely give a shout out to linebacker coach Alan Gann, who's in his first season with the Rams, and he's done a great job of keeping that unit together, even without their leader in Ryan Greenhagen, who you mentioned. I mean, he's really involved. It was really fun getting to watch him on the sidelines this weekend. I mean, he's doing push-ups every time there's a big play. He's taking notes. I couldn't even tell you what he's writing down, but he's taking notes the whole time. Every time Coach Gann is talking to his players, Greenhagen is right there with his face right next to them, getting into his guys' faces. And it's definitely really cool to watch.
Yeah, for sure. I remember the game he got hurt against Lafayette. It was the really close game, 42-41. And it was the last final stand of the game. There's about 30 seconds left. And he came hobbling from the injury tent to talk to his guys, to pump them up, to get this one last stop. They ended up doing that. You just see, I mean, even, a guy that's just, so talented, to still have that team, just that team chemistry, that's team want to still, I want to still help my teammates even though I'm out. It's definitely something that's very impressive when you look at him. And I think it's rubbing off on, some other guys up front as well. And another guy I do want to shout out is Alfonso Dixon, because when you talk about a fast fact, he had a great game, 2 sacks, which is for him, kind of this breakout type season he's had. 3.5 sacks this season, 4 QB hits. He stepped in there and has played really, really good as well. He also had 8 tackles in that game against Bucknell. He was a force up front.
Yeah, definitely. And I believe he was an honorable mention for Defensive Player of the Week. Didn't receive it. Tim DeMorat, again, receiving Offensive Player of the Week for, I believe, the 3rd or 4th time this season. And 4th time is ridiculous. I'm gonna lose count at this point. But one more fast fact. And this is just kind of a random fun fact in Patriot League trivia that you'll never get asked at a trivia night, but hey, why not know the answer to it? And that is
you never know.
You never know. You really never know. You know. And we just mentioned Fotis Kokosoulis with those 9 touchdowns. So we went and looked up who has the all-time single season touchdown record in the Patriot League. And that's, interestingly enough, a former Lehigh wide receiver and current Bucknell head coach, Dave Cicchini, who holds the Patriots League single season touchdown record as a receiver with 15. So in my opinion, especially with this game that's going to start in a few hours, Fotis has a good chance of breaking that record.
I mean, he's only needs 6 more. He had 3 in the first half last week. I mean, he's a guy that just finds the end zone, and what Coach Conlon and Kevin Decker do to scheme him to get him open in the red zone is something that it just seems like it's like a daily occurrence, weekly occurrence, I guess would be for Fotis and Tim DeMorat.
Well, we're almost done with our fast fact segment, but I actually want to give a shout out to a part of the Fordham offense that we don't give a lot of love to. And I love when this group of position players get shout out in the NFL, because I think what they do is very niche and very cool. And that is place kicking. And so our junior kicker, Nick Lieneweber, he's converted on all 9 of his point after attempts last week. He's actually a perfect 30 for 30 on the year. So hopefully he'll continue that streak and keep it alive in this upcoming week. But just wanted to give out the Fordham kicking team, the Fordham special teams team, some love. Great performance from them. Also last week, they didn't have to do much. I mean, John O'Friel, their punter, probably got a little bored, especially during that first half, but this Fordham team has been solid on all 3 facets of the game. And let's hear a little bit more on that with our Ram Roundup, where we had a chance to sit down with Coach Conlon earlier in this week. So let's play that clip now.
Week 8 edition of the Fordham Football Ram Roundup. Nick DeLuca joined by Fordham head coach Joe Conlon. Coach, you guys win your 4th game in a row for the first time since 2015 in a 66-21 victory over Bucknell. What impressed you the most about the way your group went out and played this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, I thought the guys just did a great job of executing on both sides of the ball early. I thought our special teams played really well all game. 10 touchbacks on kickoffs, and the guys ran through the end zone each time. We attempted 1 field goal and we made it. Obviously we made all of our extra points. So tremendous job on special teams. Offensively and defensively, I thought we came out firing and kind of answered the challenge.
When you dive into a 4-game winning streak, you guys have outscored opponents 195-83 over the last 4 weeks. What has jumped out to you the most in just seeing the way your group has been able to go out and have a lot of success over the last few weeks?
Yeah, I mean, we've been able to be balanced on offense. Timmy's throwing the ball really well. He's throwing for a high percentage, and at the same time, he's able to push it downfield. Credit to the offensive line, our wide receivers, and our running back. And we're running the ball well. Once again, credit to the offensive line and Timmy's decision-making and our running back. So, we just had really good balance, and those guys are playing pretty confident right now.
You touched on Tim DeMorat, the Patriot League Offensive Player of the Week for a 4th time this year. Over the last 4 weeks, over 1,000 yards passing, 16 total touchdowns, no turnovers. How impressed have you been with just what he's been able to do and put together over the last 4 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, very impressed, not surprised. He works his tail off. He's completely dialed in. He has a great relationship with Coach Decker. So, that's not what we expect of him, but we know he's a really good player. So it's obviously great to see him have success.
You welcome Lehigh to the Bronx this week as you guys continue Patriot League play. I know the answer to your question in getting another win is going to be play a little bit better than you did the week before. How do you go about doing that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's plenty we got to clean up. We had some negative plays. We put the ball on the ground 4 times, I think, or 5 times. We recovered only 1 of the 5. So, and defensively, we allowed them to score in ways I don't think we should have allowed them to score. Not that they're a bad team, just some of the plays we run I thought we should have had gapped up. So there's plenty we need to work on, plenty we need to fix. The guys know it, they believe it. So obviously we're just trying to play a little bit better than we did last week.
Coach, appreciate the time. Good luck on Saturday.
Thanks.
The Week 8 edition of the Fordham Football Ram Roundup continues. Nick DeLuca joined by Fordham quarterback Tim DeMorad. Tim, a fourth Offensive Player of the Week in the Patriot League honor for you this week. Over the last 4 games, you've thrown for over 1,000 yards, 16 total touchdowns, and no turnovers. How locked in are you at the quarterback position right now?
I'm feeling pretty good right now. Offensively, we're all feeling pretty good. We're locked in. We're kind of rolling right now. We're playing confident. Offensive line's playing well across the board. Receivers, running backs, we're kind of gelling together, taking it one game, one practice at a time, but feel good.
4-game winning streak for the first time since 2015. Over that span, the offense has averaged just under 50 points a game. What has allowed this group to really get it rolling?
I think just having a veteran group of guys playing really fast and confident, kind of just getting line up to the ball, playing quick, and everybody knowing their assignments, kind of help lead to that for sure.
With the 4-game winning streak for the first time since 2015 comes managing success. What has been the biggest challenge for you guys to continue to stay focused on the task at hand?
Yeah, I don't think we look at it as success or not having success. We kind of just focus as one game at a time, and right now we're focused on Lehigh, so kind of just taking it one practice at a time this week, getting a little bit better than last week. That's what Coach always talks about, so that's what we're focused on right now.
Tim, appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Fordham back at it this week in the Bronx as they welcome Lehigh. Chance for a 5th straight win for the first time since 2015 on Family Weekend.
All right, welcome back. Now, Andrew, like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, this game this is a Fordham team that is currently, they've won their past 4 games, and this is a Lehigh team that has lost their last 6, which is all of their games that they played, and they have yet to score a touchdown. So on paper, this game isn't pretty. This game doesn't leave us a lot to talk about. Give me something, Andrew. Give me something. What's something exciting we have to look forward to with this game?
Yeah, you don't have to be an expert to know that not scoring a touchdown through, it's the October 23rd. It's not it's not good when you don't score a touchdown yet that late in the season. And this Lehigh offense has struggled a ton, and I think that's something for them. If they can get if they're coming out of their bye week, maybe they got something up their sleeve. It's going to be tough sledding, and I think Fordham, they're going to do a good job to really press up this receiving group on the outside, not let them get a lot of separation, and then from there, I think this front seven's gonna do a good job up front. Lehigh 26 sacks their offensive line has given up, which in 6 games is not very good. So it really starts up front, and their struggles start up front. And really, through the past few games, Lehigh's had a lot of trouble up front. The opposing defensive line has really taken advantage of them on offense. And look, those struggles, a lot of things have to go wrong to score 1.5 points a game. And, that's kind of what happened. Positive for them is that defense. I think the defense isn't too bad. The numbers don't look good, but when you're on the field for 90 to 100 plays, they're going to give up points. It's not the 85 Bears, but they're solid. They, have 2 solid defensive ends. Their secondary, they have on the outside, they're going to be able to play, especially I think they can do a little bit more, and they may be able to defend Fordham on the outside with some receivers. Logan Jones is a young freshman standout, forced a fumble in the game against Penn. So their defense, I think, is sneaky good because the numbers don't look good just because they've played so much when just terms of, time of possession wise, and that's just not a recipe for success. But I think this Fordham offense, I think they'll have success. I think they'll have success running the ball. The way Fordham really is able to hit those home run balls, those big runs, those big obviously throws from DeMora, it's something that it's special to watch. It really is, because this team could really, score on any play, not just pick up a first down on any play. They can score on any play, and that is just so scary for an opposing defense.
Yeah, Andrew, to me, I look at this matchup and I see Lehigh as the Jets from any of the past 4 seasons, and I see the Rams as the Patriots from about 3 or 4 seasons ago, and that's how I'm predicting this matchup is going to go. You look at this Lehigh team, and why I use the Jets is because I think their defense is maybe the only bright spot they have, and it's not even that bright. They do have at least 2 sacks in 5 of their past 6 games. So
Yeah.
you're right, that front has proven to be something that isn't the worst thing in the world. They can make some plays happen. You mentioned their secondary, their junior safety, Tyge Leach, is the team's only first-team all-league performer from last season. So having him back there, he's got 4 pass breakups and 37 total tackles. He's been pretty strong. I mean, he's kind of the heart and soul of that secondary. So, and as we talked about earlier, Fordham has more than one solid receivers and more than one solid option. So shouldn't be too much of an issue. And you also mentioned how weak their offensive line is. And I think a big consequence of that is the fact that they've had 4 different quarterbacks seen time as a play caller this season. Their current one is Dante Perry. He's 0 touchdowns, 243 yards, 50.7% completion percentage in his 2 games, but he's really their 3rd or 4th string quarterback. So this is a team that's been injured. This is a team that really hasn't been able to figure it out much on the offensive side of things. Both their running backs, Rashawn Allen and Zathan Hill, average less than 3 yards per carry. So again, I don't expect them to score much, if at all. But on the Fordham side of things, I think it's interesting you mentioned the run game. In the second half of last week's game against Bucknell, we saw Trey Sneed go down with a knee injury, and we're still unsure. He was very limited at practice this week, didn't play in he didn't even show up to some of the practices. So not sure what's going on with him, or how serious that knee injury is, but it could be interesting to see how that affects this offense. Again, they're playing a great team to figure it out on offense, because I don't think this game should be a hard one, but I would not be surprised if we see Trey Wilson and even possibly Antonio Cortez Faria get some more action in this week's game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I really like Trey Wilson. I like his vision. I like the way he runs. I mean, he's a guy I think that overall has been a real surprise for this team. I mean, you had Zach Davis go down early in the season. Trey Sneed has kind of been in and out of the lineup, and to have a guy that hasn't played that much up until this year, he's came in and he was good not only against FCS Patriot League teams, he was good against like Nebraska. He was good against FAU, and he's a really tough runner. Sees the field well, and look, he had a home run ball last week with a big touchdown run. So he's a guy that he always sticks out as a runner when I watch him up from the booth. And I mean, just another note on this Lehigh offense, they've actually had 3 games of negative rushing yards. So it's been very, very tough up front. Having 1 game of negative rushing yards is probably, something that in history you just don't even want to talk about. But 3 in 1 season, and we're only through 6 games. I mean, that just shows how tough sledding it's been for them.
Yeah, it's not looking good for this lineup. Hopefully, last week when we talked to Coach Conlon, we asked him, how does he keep his team up for these games? And even from one quarter to the next quarter when you're winning by so many points. And he just said, this is our standard. The standard is our standard. And I think that's huge for this team, is just making sure they don't play down to the level of their opponent, because I see no reason why they don't come out of this game a 5-3 team that's undefeated in the Patriot League. And that's going to be my prediction for the game. I think they're going to win this one. I know they're going to win this one. I hesitate to say that, but come on. And I'm wondering, do we think we're going to break any records this game? Do we think Tim's going to stay in there for 7?
I mean, I don't know if they're going to give him a shot. I mean, I thought last week was just such a perfect storm. I mean, to put up 66 points after putting up 56 points, you have to just say, you just shake your head, because putting up 56 points, okay, they're not going to put up 56 again. And they didn't just put up 56, they put up 66. So 76? I don't know. I mean, we're going to have to see. I mean, that would be flirting with a Fordham record. I think 83 is a Fordham record that they did, I think, in 2016. But look, I mean, this team, this offense playing so well. And, right now, the way Tim DeMora is just locked in, I think that's something that, when going into a game, I don't think this will be any type of trap game, just because this is a veteran team, and they know, they have a lot of objectives beyond this game on their mind. And they know that they got to go out every week, win 1 game at a time to complete that goal of winning a conference title. And then, obviously from there, you want to win some playoff games too. But, this team has a goal to win the conference. And, they know, take step by step, game by game. And, if you can't beat Lehigh, you won't be able to beat teams like Holy Cross. So just 1 game at a time and 1 challenge at a time. And that's what they're going to look to convert there on Saturday.
Definitely. And again, this Saturday, just as we wrap up this game preview, this will be the team's 33rd matchup. The Mountain Hawks currently hold a 25-7 advantage. So hopefully this will be another game for Fordham to chip away at that lead. However, the two teams have split the last 5 meetings, and with Lehigh snapping a 2-game win streak by Fordham with their 30-27 overtime win in 2019. So yet another reason for Fordham to come out and win this game. Again, that game coming up very shortly at 1 p.m. on Jack Coffey Field against the Mountain Hawks. But Andrew, we're almost out of time here on this pregame warm-up, and I loved how we ended the show last week with a little bit of non-football related fun. So I thought, why not do it again? And this time, let's shake things up a bit. I was doing my prep for this pregame warm-up and for this weekend, and I noticed that both these teams have interesting mascots. Fordham Rams, Ramley, we're Ram tough, Bill tough, whatever you want to say. We're used to that. But the Mountain Hawks, I don't know about you, but I don't know if I've ever seen a Mountain Hawk. So long story short, I was like, you know what I'm going to do to Andrew? You know what I'm going to put him through to end our pregame warm-up? I'm going to do some fun, some good old-fashioned animal trivia. So I'm going to throw out a fun fact. Some of them are less fun than others, but we're talking about Mountain Hawks and Rams here, so I had to get creative. And you're going to have to tell me, am I talking about a Mountain Hawk or am I talking about a Ram? You win.
Yes, I mean, first of all, I want to say I wish I went to the Bronx Zoo before this, which I mean, since Fordham, I actually have never been to the Bronx Zoo since I came here at Fordham. So I wish I did before this.
I think that's why I have animals on the brain. But
yeah,
here we go. So first fact: this animal lays eggs.
It's got to be the hawk, Mountain Hawks.
There you go, 1 for 1.
Yeah.
I'm starting off easy, by the way. I'm starting off easy. All right, this animal's eyesight is 5 times better than a human's.
That's got to be the hawk too, right?
2 for 2, Andrew. You don't need the zoo.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. This animal is the size of an average football player from head to tail, usually falls between 5 to 6 feet long, and tends to weigh between 260 to 280 pounds.
It's got to be the ram. Yeah.
Rams, baby.
Right. Yeah.
Same size as a football player. What a coincidence. All right. Next question. This animal uses a sky dance to initiate a mating sequence.
Oh, God. Now I wish I went to the zoo.
Sky dance. Sky
it's
dance.
got the hawk, right?
There you go. There you go. All right. Next, moving on. For this animal, size really does matter. The size of this animal's blank, you got to fill it. You got to answer 2 things. Is a symbol of their rank within their herd.
It's got to be horns with the ram, I guess.
There we go. There we go. Andrew, come on.
Yeah.
You're too good.
Almost there, right? Yeah.
All right. Few more questions. This animal cannot be found in the U.S. It's mostly found in eastern and southern parts of China, Japan, Russia, North Korea, India, Sri Lanka, and the Himalayas.
Is that the mountain hawk?
There we go.
Yeah.
Andrew. Yeah.
Which is kind of funny. I would think the mountain hawk would be from like Pennsylvania. It sounds like a Pennsylvania type thing.
Exactly. I did not know that before I went and looked up all this information an hour before we did this call. But you know what? One more question for you. This animal has been used in research for concussion protocols for the NFL.
Huh. Wish I saw the movie with Will Smith. Maybe they talked about it in there. I'll go Rams.
The answer is Rams.
The
answer is Rams. 100% for you. You would have passed 8th grade biology or whatever you learned about all this nonsense. But yeah, fun fact about Rams, because they are so effective in preventing concussions when ramming their heads together. Researchers in the past 5 years have been studying them to see if they can use any of that to develop better helmets in the NFL. So that's a fun fact for you. So cool. On that great and happy note, we're going to wrap up this pregame warm-up show again. Andrew, thank you so much for bearing with me through this interesting
always a lot of fun.
Minutes. It's always so much fun. And I know you guys at home watching this are excited for this game that's about to happen, and we are too. So without further ado, the Rams will be hosting Lehigh Mountain Hawks at 1 p.m. at Jack Coffey Field, again, sponsored by Belmont Realty. For the Fordham pregame warm-up show, he is Andrew Galata. I'm Kelly Bright. We will see you guys next week.